Hi, my name is Caroline Walton. I'm the lead for Endpoint Assessment and Accreditation at Explosive Learning Solutions, also known as ELS here in Oxford. I've worked for ELS for almost 15 months as a Senior Learning and Development Consultant and Qualification Team Lead. I've been in education management for 23 years, and almost all of that time has been spent in the apprenticeship sector. So when my directors asked me to look into ELS becoming an endpoint assessment organisation, I jumped at the opportunity, and I feel very excited for ELS. I've put this presentation together to tell you a little bit about endpoint assessment, especially as for some employers, they're still struggling to understand what this involves. I also want to tell you a little bit about what ELS have planned, and towards the end of the presentation, I've included some advice on training and assessment during these times while we're experiencing the challenges of COVID-19, and the advice has been provided by the Institute of Apprenticeships. In the past week, ELS have been awarded endpoint assessment status. You may have seen this advert on LinkedIn over the past couple of days. The team are absolutely thrilled as we have worked really hard to achieve our status, and we're very excited about working with employers, providers and apprentices going forward. This is a great achievement for us and we're very, very happy. An endpoint assessment organisation is an organisation that carries out the endpoint assessment for an employer to complete an apprentice's qualification. Endpoint assessment, or EPA, is the way in which apprentices are assessed at the end of their programme. Previously, apprentices were continuously assessed throughout their learning. With EPA, apprentices now have their work and competence assessed at the end of their learning against the apprenticeship standards established by groups of employers, educators and sector organisations known as apprenticeship trailblazers. The government updated the apprenticeship process from frameworks to standards, involving a new independent assessment at the end of the course. An independent organisation must be involved in the endpoint assessment of each apprentice so that all apprentices following the same standard are assessed consistently. Only organisations on the register of endpoint assessment organisations are eligible to conduct independent endpoint assessment of apprentices, although a number of different people and organisations may be involved in an apprentice's endpoint assessment. Only the independent organisation needs to apply to and be listed on the register. Okay, so when does endpoint assessment happen? Well, endpoint assessment happens at the end of the apprenticeship, once the apprentice has gone through the EPA gateway. To confirm that gateway has been reached, the employer and training provider must hold a meeting with the apprentice to confirm that they have gained the required level of knowledge, skills and behaviours, along with any mandatory qualifications, including, where appropriate, English and maths at a level set by the apprenticeship standard. The endpoint assessment organisation must confirm that the gateway process has been completed before conducting the endpoint assessment. How does the endpoint assessment organisation conduct an EPA? Okay, so ELS will assign an independent endpoint assessor to conduct the endpoint assessment activities and assess the apprentice. The EPA process is different for each apprenticeship standard, but can involve several of the following activities: a review of a portfolio of evidence provided by the apprentice, a presentation, a practical demonstration, knowledge tests, professional discussion, a structured competency-based interview, workplace observations, an observed practical skills test, and workplace projects. ELS have been approved for the team leader and supervisor standards so far. However, we hope to be approved for these apprenticeship standards over the coming weeks and months. Currently, there are over 22,000 learners on the team leader supervisor standard, and so far only just over 2,000 have been assessed. And don't forget, learners are enrolling on apprenticeship standards all the time. Our priority list of apprenticeship standards we plan to endpoint assess are here on the left side of the screen. However, if an employer were to approach ELS and ask us to endpoint assess another apprenticeship standard to fit in with their needs and requirements. This would certainly be something we would look at for you. Currently, the teams are busy putting together our assessment materials and tools so that we can deliver an excellent service to everyone involved in the process. Okay, so how do we train our assessors? Well, ELS take both training and quality assurance very seriously. All endpoint assessors will go through induction training and regular standardisation. It will be massively important for ELS and the team to gather as much feedback as possible from our employers, learners, and the training providers we'll be working with. We already do regular feedback sessions and invals with all our current clients and on the training courses that ELS currently deliver, both face-to-face and remotely. ELS also plan to deliver the Level 3 award in endpoint assessment, and if we're approved to deliver this qualification, we'll be making it available for staff joining ELS and for external customers. Another exciting qualification and course we're looking to deliver is the Level 6 Diploma in Career Guidance and Development. This comes highly recommended in the apprenticeship standard Career Professional Level 6. So we've got lots going on here. How are we developing our assessment materials and tools? Well, I've already talked about standardisation sessions. The teams are holding regular meetings with subject matter experts, assessors and IQAs to talk about our assessment materials. What do we need? How can we make it an excellent standard? And then going forward, how can we continue to improve? Feedback forms and invals will be crucial to our success and to ensure that we bring our employers and learners a fantastic service and products. We will be conducting research all the time, and obviously we want to be out and about networking. ELS will be using ACE 360 for our learner management system. We will use this to track and monitor all our learners. It is a fantastic piece of software which comes highly recommended by the Institute of Apprenticeships. I believe approximately 75% of training providers are now using this software. It links the whole apprenticeship process from enrolment right through to certification. ACE 360 is run by the Charity Federation for Industry Skills, Sector Skills and Standards to help keep costs low for industry. For the past 7 years, they have a proven track record of 98% rating for providing excellent customer service. The system allows early registration and tracking of apprentices. And you may ask, well, why is this so important to ELS? Well, this is massively important if we want to deliver an excellent level of service and one which is accurate and timely, enabling apprentices to achieve their apprenticeships on time. And it's free to Endpoint Assessment Organisation, which was a bonus for us. This is a screenshot of their dashboard. Okay, so we're all experiencing very challenging times at the moment, and the COVID-19 virus presents us all with challenges, including the unique challenge to fair and timely delivery of quality apprenticeships. The priority is, of course, the health and well-being of apprentices, employers, and everyone involved in the process. Every effort needs to be made to ensure apprentices can continue with their apprenticeship and be assessed in accordance with the current EPA plan and external quality assurance or EQA requirements if possible. This is clear guidance currently being provided by the Institute of Apprenticeships. Where this is not possible, providers should first consider whether it is appropriate to extend the apprenticeship in order to reschedule the EPA. The purpose of this direction by the Institute is to specify measures that permit professional discretion so that individuals are protected and disruption is minimised, whilst safeguarding the quality and integrity of apprenticeships in circumstances where this is not a good reason for extending an apprenticeship. These arrangements specifically relate to the response to the COVID-19 virus and are temporary. The Institute will continue to monitor and respond to the situation in conjunction with stakeholders, including sector bodies, and the Institute have said further advice will be provided where necessary. Apprentices who are deemed ready for assessment and cannot be assessed due to assessor illness or COVID-19 related measures are allowed to have a pause in learning as per the ESFA rules. Apprentices who experience gaps in training in the workplace or off the job due to COVID-19 related prevention measures or illness can classify this period as a break in learning. So what will this mean for ELS and other EPOs and training providers? Well, communication is massively important at these times. Training providers and endpoint assessment organisations or EPAOs should make every attempt to communicate as much as possible through this period and to ensure that the apprentices, employers and again everyone involved in the process is kept well informed. For ELS and other EPAOs, we need to be engaging with our external quality assurance providers throughout and keeping logs of any COVID-19 related actions. And we need to make these logs available for review by our external quality assurance providers. In terms of delivery of endpoint assessment, EPAOs, ELS, will seek to reschedule any assessments or continue to follow the specified assessment plan, especially where remote assessment is allowed. Our team leader supervisor standard can be completely remotely assessed. Gateway sign-off can be conducted remotely with agreement of the apprentice, employer and training provider. Where an apprentice is post-gateway and where the EPA plan specifies a time limit by which EPA must be completed post-gateway, this may be extended by up to 12 weeks. Where this is the case, ELS and other EPOs will need to log each instance and share this information with our external quality assurance providers on a timely basis. If an apprentice moves employers during the extended period, the EPA should still take place wherever possible. If the application of an extension were to cause hardship to the apprentice, ELS and other EPAOs may choose to apply the following professional discretions in order to conduct assessments. The requirement for assessment methods to be completed in a set order can be relaxed to allow flexibility in delivery, and where this is deemed reasonable and feasible. Where an assessment method requires face-to-face engagement, this can be conducted remotely, subject to the following conditions. Arrangements are cleared in advance by the external quality assurance provider. The apprentice's identity is verified, and there is appropriate technology and systems in place for this. Remote tests are supervised by an appropriate trained invigilator or qualified assessor who has the necessary qualifications, training or experience, and who has not been involved in the training, preparation or line management of the apprentice. This supervision can happen remotely. The impact that remote assessment may have on an apprentice is to be taken into consideration and to ensure a fair and reliable assessment of occupational competence. Where remote alternatives are not appropriate, a pause in assessment might be the only action. Okay, so ELS is a privately owned learning and development company, has been successfully delivering training for 15 years. ELS is a vocational educational training provider for a number of national and international accreditation organisations. That includes City and Guilds, ILM, APMG International, PeopleCert, EXELOS and APM and SIPS. The endpoint assessment products and services we will be providing employers, training providers and apprentices is new for ELS, but this is also new for all other EPOs out there. We would love to be able to speak to employers about the apprenticeship standards they have in their organisations, or maybe what they are thinking of introducing. ELS can support you with this. Out of the list of apprenticeship standards seen on slide 7, if there are any there you wish for ELS to become your endpoint assessment organisation, please get in touch. Over the past couple of days, when we have sent out our adverts on LinkedIn, some training providers have asked us to get in contact so they can talk to their employers about us and promote ELS, which we are very grateful for. We would love to support and partner with as many employers and training providers as possible. And finally, other endpoint assessment organisations, please get in touch with ELS. We would love to share and discuss best practice, challenges and network with you. If you would like to get in contact with ELS, here are our contact details for you to do so. Thank you for listening. I hope you found this presentation helpful and informative.